My name is Courtney Herb. I am the Director of Brand Marketing at AdRoll. And for those who don't know, AdRoll is an advertising and marketing technology company. And I am so thrilled to have with me today at the table two brand masters. First, closest to me is Charlie Cameron, who runs SEO and paid marketing for AlgaeCal. And then to his right, we have the wonderful Elin Khachikian, and she is the head of marketing and social media for Zoe Lev Jewelry. And so today we're going to be talking about all things building and maintaining brand awareness. And so first, we're going to hear a little bit more about Elin and Charlie's roles and the companies they work for. Then we'll be taking a look back at 2023. What were some big wins for our brands, and maybe what were some challenges that we faced? And then finally, we're going to close it out looking ahead at 2024 and talk about what is top of mind for us as marketers when we look forward to building our brands this year. And so if you can walk away from this session in the next half hour feeling like you have some practical strategies to apply to your brand, us three, we will have done our jobs. So without further ado, I will stop talking and let's get things rolling. Pun completely intended. So let's kick it off with Elin. Elin, we would all love to hear more about your role and what Zoe Lev is all about.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Elin, as Courtney mentioned. I work for Zoe Lev Jewelry. We are a jewelry company based in Los Angeles. We make 14K gold jewelry, sustainable jewelry with a focus on personalized pieces. As a head of marketing, I do anything from planning and executing our quarterly calendar. I work with our ads, maintaining our social media platforms, posting content, planning the content, influencer outreach, anything within that scope.
Amazing. And if anyone is wondering and anyone is eyeing some of the fantastic jewelry that Elin is wearing, yes, some of it is Zoe Lev, so make sure to come up to her after and talk to her about it. But then next, Charlie, let's hear from you. What is your role at AlgaeCal?
Hey everyone, my name is Charlie. I am the SEO and paid lead at AlgaeCal. AlgaeCal is a supplement company that specializes in bone health. Our flagship product is a calcium supplement made out of algae, hence the name AlgaeCal, algae calcium. And our mission is to help the millions and millions of people around the world that struggle with bone loss, osteoporosis, and osteopenia. I believe there's somewhere around 44 million Americans that struggle with low bone density. And my role at AlgaeCal is to plan and execute the paid and SEO strategies.
Awesome. That is great to hear. And I mean, especially in this world that is seemingly so overrun with supplements, it is really cool to learn about one that is so focused on improving bone density, something that's so important, but I feel like often isn't talked about, which is really cool. So let's talk a little bit more about 2023. And I'd love, this is a time for you both to brag. So Elin, I want to start with you. Let's hear about maybe one or two big successes that you had with the Zoe Lev brand in 2023.
Yeah, so last year, one of our biggest goals was brand identity, growing our brand identity and brand awareness. We did see about a 20% increase in revenue. Part of that we are attributing to brand awareness. We created a very consistent brand identity that we made sure we had across all platforms. We made our branding and what we posted on social media and everything through our marketing very intentional. With our ads and our content. We used our network of retail partners to actually do more in-person events to help with the awareness, to get in front of people, to get in front of our customer base. And we've seen a lot of benefit from it, so that's only going to hopefully continue into this year.
Wow. Yeah, that is great. I mean, again, especially just with how saturated the jewelry market can be, I think having that consistent brand voice and tone across so many channels, it's so easy to sound like something on Instagram and something in person and something over here, but the fact that you all were able to translate that across so many different channels and in person too is really, really impressive. So Charlie, not that you have to top that, but would love to hear about, the same thing, one or two successes that the AlgaeCal brand experienced last year.
Yeah, for sure. The big bosses were happy in 2023, which is always a good sign. We, just like Elin, we grew our revenue just over 20% and increased our EBITDA. So it was a very profitable year for AlgaeCal. One of our biggest wins actually was growing our e-com marketplaces, specifically on Amazon and Walmart. And people are now using these e-com marketplaces as search engines. So just like a website, you need to optimize your pages with content, creative, and copywriting. Another thing that we implemented was actually third-party attribution software for better tracking across all marketing touchpoints. So we became so much, with that data, we just became so much more efficient with our ad spend, and we increased ROAS drastically by the end of 2023. And from there, with that data, we were actually able to map out our customer journeys from each touch point and scale what was working for us, scale all the campaigns that were working for us. So that was kind of the big two highlights for at least paid side of AlgaeCal.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned attribution and just trying to meet customers at every touch point in the journey. I think it's something that even on the brand front, even at the top of funnel with marketing, sometimes we lose sight of, where we get somebody in the funnel and we say, I got them. And then maybe somewhere along the line they leave and we wonder, what did we do wrong? What did we not say? What did they not like? And that's where the power of attribution comes in, and having kind of that full funnel marketing strategy where you're looking at every single touch point, and then you take that information and that data, to your point, and you apply it to future campaigns. So it's this big marketing life cycle, which is just so valuable. For brand, but really just for every part of your marketing strategy. So that's really great to hear, that success. But I mean, not to turn it to a little bit more of a serious note, but we can't talk about all roses. We need to talk about a couple thorns. So Elin, it would be great to hear a bit about maybe some of the obstacles, the roadblocks, or even the challenges that you faced in the last year as you were hitting and meeting a lot of these incredible goals and successes with the brand.
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges, I think we all saw it kind of across the board, was inflation. We had to deal with the cost of goods going up, so that kind of affected us from anywhere from our manufacturers to our marketing and our ad spend. Kind of midway through the year, we had to look at our budget again and see where we were spending, where we could allocate our budget to kind of help us. We try to keep our margins pretty small for the customer so we could stay affordable with our 14K jewelry. So that was something that we had to work through a lot, and hopefully we don't see it, keep going in the future.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, from everywhere, from grocery stores to things like jewelry. Yeah, inflation was everywhere last year. But as a huge jewelry enthusiast myself, we thank you for keeping your margins small to not pass the cost on to the customer. I know it's something that customers do know and appreciate, which is great. Let's talk a little bit about 2024. So, Charlie, when we think about AlgaeCal in this coming year, what are some of the big things that you're keeping top of mind in terms of how you're looking to either grow AlgaeCal's brand awareness or even just maintain the level that you're currently at?
Yeah, for sure. For 2024, we really want to focus on video content. I think there's something along the lines of 4 billion pieces of content that gets produced every single day. And with AI coming and content being easier to make, there's going to be more and more content that's going to be posted online. So you really need to find out where your audience is. And one miss that we kind of made these last 3 to 5 years is we haven't focused on YouTube. A lot of our customers are actually doing bone health research on YouTube, researching osteoporosis. And right now, we just don't have the content that fits those queries that people are researching. So we want to make a big push on YouTube. And then from those bigger YouTube videos, we want to break those videos into smaller portions for ads. We want to use those for our social media as well as our website. And also, I don't know if you guys have heard of Athletic Greens and Andrew Huberman, but we're actually very close to partnering with a pretty big YouTuber. We can't announce anything yet, but that partnership is worth its weight in gold. Having someone that has that much credibility talking about your product in every single video, that's something that's it's so valuable. So we want to focus on getting those partnerships as well as answering all those questions that people are searching for.
Wow. Now I want to know more about the partnership. That's amazing. I'm sure we're all waiting to hear this year what that partnership is and how that pans out. But yeah, I mean, it's huge when you can get an influencer involved, and not even in a necessarily a paid to play aspect, but especially if it's somebody who also authentically fits in with the brand and really helps elevate that element of social proof and says, it's not even that I'm just supporting this, but I use this and I believe in this as well, which, as Charlie just said, worth its weight in gold and more, which is incredible. And also building out that YouTube strategy. I mean, I feel like a lot of people forget YouTube is the #2 most used search engine behind Google. So a lot of times when people are searching for something, they will go to Google first and then they will go right to YouTube, especially if they need to learn more about something or if they're looking for something in maybe an easier to understand format. So it's, I think, such a great strategy that you all are really digging in on something that can be really scary and hard to understand with something about health and bone density. So that's 2 really impressive strategies. So Elin, love to hear a little bit more from you. How are you and the Zoe Lev brand going to take the success from 2023 and maintain it and then build upon it?
Yeah, so a little similar to what Charlie said, content creation is going to be our main focus this year. I mean, especially now, as some of you might have heard this morning, like with AI coming into play, creating content is so easy and can be so streamlined. It's just figuring out, because we have like such an omni-channel presence, figuring out what kind of content fits what kind of platform. The kind of content we post on Instagram is not going to be the same as we post on TikTok, which is like longer videos, more organic, UGC type content. So a lot of our focus is going to be there this year.
Yeah, content is king. I know it's something that we've been saying in the brand world for years, but especially to your point, if you can find ways to create incredible content pieces and then repurpose them across different platforms, different channels, I mean, the work really does itself, which is always something that we as marketers are looking for, especially in the AI world where, your competitors are using AI. Just making sure that you always create authentic messages with your content is huge. So I know we've talked about a couple of maybe new strategies that we're looking for, but would love to hear, let's say, Elin, starting with you, what's one tried and true strategy that's kind of stood by with you year after year and you said, you know what, like we're just going to keep going with this in 2024?
I mean, I don't think there's like one answer to that question, but it's really kind of honing in on what platforms take off in what way for us. Like we use Google Ads, we use AdRoll for brand awareness, we use and retargeting, and our email campaigns for customer retention. So it's really figuring out what platform works well with our customers and what kind of response we're getting, and just kind of keep going.
Yeah, that's great. And it's never set and forget. It's always take a look and see what's working, and then just tweak from there. Charlie, so I think same for you. What's a strategy that's kind of your, I wouldn't say go-to, but something that you said, like, I know this is going to keep helping us build?
Yeah, something that's always worked for us is just sharing our customer testimonials. A lot of our customers have the same story where they break a bone super easily, go to a doctor, they get diagnosed with osteoporosis or low bone density, and they feel hopeless. They don't want to go on these bone medications that have a lot of side effects, so they're looking for a natural solution. And when they see our testimonials and they see themselves in the videos, it makes an emotional impact and it really resonates with the user, and it's very successful through paid. So like I'll just give you guys a little scenario of maybe a funnel that we would pick. Someone's Google searching how to reverse bone loss. We have an ad takes them to our bone loss page, and then we retarget them with a testimonial. That converts super well. And then another thing that works really well for us is we have a super active Facebook community. So there's 30,000 members in our Facebook community. We basically have an army of people that love to promote our product, and if you can have people promoting your product for you, it's win-win.
Love the community aspect.
Yeah.
That is something that again, talk about worth its weight in gold. You can't manufacture that. Having a community that's willing to vouch for you, that's willing to talk amongst itself, that's willing to learn from each other and educate amongst each other, especially for something as serious and maybe potentially scary as bone density loss. I mean, that's really, really powerful. Charlie, if you don't mind me asking, do you have a testimonial that is your personal favorite that you think is, wow, like this one really, really nailed it?
There's a lot of inspirational ones where they've been super active, like they've lived a very active life. They think they've done everything right. They've eat healthy, but sometimes bone loss is just genetic. They break a bone. They feel terrified that they can't do the activities. They feel like they can't play with their grandchildren, and they find our product. They use it for 6 months. They actually see on a bone density scan that their bone density increased, and they just can get back to their normal life. So when we hear stories like that, it's super inspiring to the marketing team, and it's something that we know that we're making a difference. So it's easy to market when you believe in your product, and you feel like you're making a difference.
That's great. The warm fuzzy is one of those unspoken benefits of working for a brand like AlgaeCal. Awesome. Well, I think to wrap us up, I would love for you both to take a moment and share. Maybe think back 5-6 years ago when you were, just starting out in leading brand or just learning more as a marketer. What was that one piece of advice or something that you learned in the brand building world that if you could go back and give it to yourself 5 years ago, you would say, oh man, I would love to have a time machine? So Elin, let's start with you.
Yeah, so you could build your brand and have everything look all pretty and your e-commerce is all set up and you're just waiting and not making profits. So I think one of the key things we took away was don't focus on profit from the get-go. Focus on brand growth and revenue, and profits will follow.
Yeah, that is so valuable. It's so easy sometimes to look and get caught up with those numbers, but a well-built brand it takes you so far and beyond anything that short-term kind of that cash infusion can do, which is, great advice. So Charlie, same to you. What would you tell yourself maybe 3 or 5 years ago, that magic piece of advice or that experience that you've learned from?
Yeah, so I actually agree with Elin. You have to do the things right the first time. There's nothing worse than backtracking and creating a brand after establishing your business for the last 10 years. So really having that strong brand personality right off the get-go is key, and investing time into that brand. Not just because without a brand voice, it's very hard to make sales and to have that personal connection with your customer.
Yeah, building the brand is it's so important. And as Charlie was saying too, having that voice that's unique to you and applies to you, that if you were to go out and look at your ads compared to maybe some other competitors in the space, you should be able to point yours out. Even if there are no images attached to it, no name attached to it, be able to point out who you are. And if you can't do that, it's time to take a look at your overall branding and think, how can we make this more true to our mission, more true to our purpose, more true to ourselves? So I think that is about it from us. I think we might have a few minutes left, so I would say if we want to open it up to a few questions, yes, down here in front.
Yep. So all the members in our Facebook group are actually customers. So once they buy our product, they get sent a link to our Facebook group. In terms of getting people into our Facebook group, it's not open to anyone. You're right, people don't like Facebook groups anymore, and we're looking to potentially move to a different platform or an app. But for us, we have an older demographic, so the Facebook group still works for the meantime. And we do a lot of nurturing in that Facebook group. Like we have expert interviews, we have people doing exercise classes with people. So we have a lot of free information to nurture that audience.
Yeah, that's incredible. Again, providing value in those groups, I think, is the biggest key. I know some of those in the past, it was set and forget, and you let the community kind of talk with itself. But providing some kind of a unique value that makes somebody want to come back into that group and keep engaging, that's, especially with Facebook, again, being a little bit, not necessarily the platform that it used to be in terms of the algorithm. I think that's a big key there. Any other questions for Elin or Charlie?
Hi, Elin. I also run a jewelry brand, so I was wondering, for someone who just start the company, what will be the best marketing strategy? Will it go for let's say marketing? Meta ads, or it's more influencer?
I would say a little bit of both. I mean, you want to look into Meta Ads library and see who your competition is, what kind of ads they're running. Start out with an influencer that you think fits into your jewelry, build that brand trust there. You know, you have to plant seeds like everywhere until it kind of grows into the brand that you want it to be.
So in my case, like influencers sometimes like a little bit more, you know, expensive. Like they want something like $500. So like sometimes like I would say it's like unaffordable for a lot of you know, new brand owners. So
yeah, so what you can do is you can actually, there's UGC creators that you can actually look. They can create where they're not an influencer, so you're not focusing on them as much to pitch to their audience, which is what you want out of the influencer. Because when you're paying an influencer, you're also paying for them to sell to their audience, essentially. But using like a UGC creator, which you'll see a lot on platforms like TikTok, for example, they're not influencers. They're creating that organic content to promote your item, which is what you essentially want. So that way, it's like, if I would much rather sometimes see someone that looks like me talking about an item that I want versus an influencer that has like 1 million followers. Because then it builds that brand trust, and you want that brand trust from your audience.
Awesome. That's a great tip, Elin, especially in a world where it feels like it's almost been a little bit overrun by influencers. It is really cool sometimes when you're just scrolling. I know I do it, where you're on your stories, you're on TikTok, and you see what you think is just somebody talking about a product that they like, and you realize, oh my God, I've been watching an ad for 20 seconds. It's a huge strategy. It's how the beauty brand Glossier really blew up a couple of years ago. Never doubt the value of people want to see people that look like themselves. And shop and are interested in things that they enjoy. Okay, well, the great news is if you're a little bit shy and you want to come talk to Charlie, Elin, or myself, we are going to be back at the AdRoll booth, which if you just turn around and walk a couple steps that way, it's that peach-colored booth right behind this retail rave space. But first off, I just want to give a huge thank you to Charlie and Elin. Please join me in giving them a quick round of applause. They did phenomenally. And if you're interested in learning more about Zoe Lev Jewelry, you can visit their website at zoelev.com. That's ZOELEV.com. Valentine's Day is coming up, and it's never too early to start shopping. And then if you are like me and you're clinging on to your health and fitness goals for the remainder of 2024, make sure to check out AlgaeCal. That's AlgaeCal.com to check out some of their supplements. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for joining, and be sure to come by and swing by the AdRoll booth, learn more about how to build up your brand awareness, how to retarget, and more. We would love to come talk with you. But thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of Retail Fest.
Thank you.